All right, everybody. I am so sorry for the delay. We are finally on here. So there was an issue with my stream key. So here we are. We're on. And I do have a very special guest with me today. I'll bring him on here in just a second. And most of you know him as QuartermasterU, the lovely and talented. And so we're just going to talk about what he does, some store stuff, some other LOTRO goodness, and we'll see where the rest of the night takes us. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him in here, and here we go. There he is.
What's going on, everybody?
Thanks for being patient, man. That was not fun.
All good. Technology's fun.
Yes, yes it is.
It's good for everybody.
So, out of the gate, for those of the people that are watching that don't know who you are, who are you?
Hi, everybody. I am Quartermaster U. My real name is Jacob, and I am the e-commerce and brand manager for Lord of the Rings Online and Dungeons and Dragons Online. That's what I do.
What does all that mean?
Let's learn a little bit more tonight. So basically, I'm loosely in charge of everything store related, payment related, and also everything brand related. So the website logos, website presentation, um, concepting, and collaborating to get all of the stuff done for updates as far as outward messaging. So everything that you see in the emails and so on and so forth. So
All right, so apparently you are too quiet for them, but you're
what?
you are quite voluminous for me in my ears.
Oh well, that's all that matters.
Yes. All right.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Let me make
Yeah,
sure where I'm at with my audio settings. Yeah, you're all the way up in there. My headset's turned all the way up, and that's all the way up.
I will check my own microphone and learn where that is.
Yes, Meg, it is your ongoing goal to deafen me. That is okay.
That's not okay. Why would you?
Hmm.
Why would you do that to somebody?
Uh, as long as it doesn't damage this air. Okay. As long as we got our priorities straight.
Let's try that.
All right.
Too much.
Here, I've got, since we're not doing game stuff, I have one more thing that I can do.
Well, do
What's that?
try that. Try that. How's that? Can you hear me?
Sounds about
Yeah.
the same, but a little bit grainy for me. But,
Same volume.
yeah, I got one thing I can do. Hold that thought. We'll do... Okay. Alright, we'll see how that goes for them now, and if it's super, super loud, well, we'll try to fix it.
Excellent.
Alright, so for those who may have not heard what you just said and your long, beautiful spiel of what you do, try again.
Um, so I'm the e-commerce and brand manager for Lord of the Rings Online and Dungeons and Dragons Online, and the reason I'm pointing in those directions is I'm literally sat in between the two teams. So I get to listen to all of them all day, and we talk about some good stuff.
Okay, I'm seeing better. Alright,
All right,
good.
I'm getting told by Cordovan, who is hitting me up personally on the side here. Skype mic input. Um, I'll play around with this, but I will continue to talk as I do so that you can hear me struggle.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. The struggle is real tonight, but
Yes.
that's part of the fun about doing shows this late.
I think it's because Technical 13 is in the chat, so we're going to have 13 technical problems.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Might
I
need to
think
put
that's
that
going to be a
in the
thing.
Uh-oh. Let's see. Speakers ringing. Automatically adjust my microphone settings. No. We're gonna set you all the way up. How's that?
Well, we'll see. I see it lighting up on my bar a little bit higher, so we'll
It's
go with
gonna
that.
be great. Okay.
If not, I'll get you a Discord link and mute you on Skype. We will make it work.
One way or the other.
Okay, we got sounds much better, much better. That is better. Good. All right, we're going with that. Yay. Now we can actually start 40 minutes later.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's good for you. What else were you doing tonight?
I would, if I didn't do this, I'd just be playing. So that's it.
Excellent.
All right. So you are responsible for the brand and e-commerce for 2 games currently, DDO and LOTRO.
Yep.
So more specifically towards LOTRO,
Sure.
what does that look like specifically for you in a day-to-day operation type of thing?
Oh man, that changes on a day to day, which is one of the wonderful things about the job, but it's also one of the challenges. Um, Typical day, you're coming in and you're dealing with anything from customer service tickets that might have come in on the weekend or overnight, to payment issues, to helping the Lotro team itemize the catalog that gets uploaded into the store, coordinating the launch days. Uh, my full day is typically a lot of coordination, um, a lot of talking to people, and a lot of feedback from many different sources. Um, in addition to that, it's checking all of the various channels, right? So looking at the store backend, we have a little admin panel that we have access to, and going, making sure that everything's set up right, checking subscriptions, and going through the various services that we provide to make sure everything's good and green. Right now, life is slightly different, and this happens just before every update. Um, we go through the process of getting the name approved by Salzance, getting it integrated, um, starting to light up our art team to do assets, and making sure that we can get all that stuff put together in time for the update, which I can't tell you when it's going to come, but it's coming soon.
Oh no, not the quotes.
Yes.
I knew they were going to happen.
Well, I can't use TM in a hand gesture, so
Yeah.
you get air
You could
quotes.
try. The timeout.
That's not no.
So, all right. So in relation to that, so this is kind of the same question, but it's kind of 3 prongs to it.
Sure.
So what are your goals for the game, the store, and yourself? And it could be short term, long term, whatever.
Well, a day-to-day goal that I always keep in the back of my mind is what's sort of the happiness quotient of everybody, right? Not just internally, because that's a completely different thing that I'm also concerned with. Because brand extends both outward and inward, right? And so,
Right.
if, they're on the Lord of the Rings train. How Lord of the Ringsy am I feeling today? Um,
All right, fair.
and so
Well, you are wearing the white tree today, which I applaud. Yes.
so a big thanks. One of our old designers, Raul, put this together, and it became our staff shirt. The staff shirts have
Ooh, extras.
special extras on the back.
I dig it.
Then we had one without the special extras to hand out to users. So if you've seen us at PAX or another trade show, or we even send them out to the streamers for giveaways and things of that nature occasionally. So keep your eyes out. And if you see me or Cordovan out in the world, or Tolero, who sits behind me, you might be able to get a shirt. And so I'm not going to tell you when or where yet, because we haven't figured that out, but that's coming along.
Send one to Gussie.
Oh, yeah, Gussie wants one. Okay.
She still needs one.
Okay. Well, actually, this is the other thing I do. I take a lot of notes.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Needs. Gussie needs. There you go.
Cool.
All right. So that actually kind of segues into a secondary goal, right? Sort of looking at things that we can do as part of a franchise to figure out what we can do for our users to increase their happiness and satisfaction with the thing that they love.
Okay.
So always thinking about, what's the real, and this is going to sound very marketing-y, but what's the true Middle Earth experience, and how can we bring that
Sure.
to everybody? Um, in more ways than one, right? So you have people like Maid of Lions, who is working on the quest stuff. You have um, Tim and Ryan, who work on World, and Ryan designed the raid for 18.2, um, and everybody's in that mix, right? And so part of my job is jumping in and periodically looking at things, and how can um, the in-game experience get leveled up, and how can we use that particular in-game experience outside of game to help people get inside a game. So I have a lot of sort of mid-range goals, month to 3 months of thinking about, well, how can we better smooth out that experience to get people who want to be playing. Um, and then, the other part of me is thinking long term, so 6 to 12 months and even beyond that, right? Looking at what we have coming down the pipe, are we really leveraging the parts of the book that um, are the most exciting at this point in the journey? What are the big moments that we need to hit, and what
So
are
you
the
even have your hand on that part.
well, you have to. You always have to be thinking that far ahead, and the leads on the LOTRO team are always thinking that far ahead,
Sure.
right? Um, Especially Maid of Lions, who's literally writing out the story and all the secondary pieces that go along with it, right? Because you always have that epic quest line,
Hmm.
then you always have the secondary quests and tertiary quests that go along with it to kind of continue to keep you going down that path, right? And so, um, something that everybody on the team is always thinking about is, where are we in the timeline? How do we get from point A to point B? But also, how do we make that experience enjoyable? Um, and doing so short term, right? If you're only planning like this much, right, then
Hmm.
this next part sneaks up on you. So we always like to think about where we're going, or potentially can be going, um, up to a year and a half in the future, so
Okay.
that the things that we're building now can nurture those future things, as well as might be reusable, or factor in with some small art tweaks or small design tweaks, um, so that way we're setting our future selves up for success while still meeting the goals right here in the short term.
Okay. Well, so you have your hand in a lot of different things all
I
the
talk
time.
to a lot of people. It's true.
And then I even make you come in at 10:30 at night to talk more.
It's good. It's good, but you have to have these conversations, right?
Yeah.
Because there's this weird veil of silence over the video game industry where um, by not talking about it, you're saving stuff, but at the same time, not talking about it, people have more questions, and then by not talking about the questions that they have, they everybody loses their mind, and I do it too, right? I'm a gamer at heart, and so I see a ad or something like that, and I get really fixated on the thing that I think it is, and so if they're not that brand isn't talking to me and I don't know what's going on, I come up with my own idea,
Right.
right? Which is kind of bad, right? So we've been working really hard to continue to communicate more with all of our players, and even players who haven't been around for a while or want to come back, or new players especially. We always love talking to new players, but that's why the community team, i.e. Quarterman, who sits right there, um, and is possibly in chat. I saw him a little bit earlier. Um, that's why that's so important, right? The community team speaks directly um, to users, to our players, to the people that we're here to entertain.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it's good to think that far, but it's also a trap too. If you're constantly in the future, you're not dealing with the present. If you're
Sure. Sure.
constantly
Sure.
you're not dealing with the planning. So there's always that balance. So that tends to take up a lot of filler time. So 5-10 minutes here and there adds up to a lot. It's good.
So do you guys feel like with because I think this is something that's kind of come and gone in waves, what a lot of players would describe as the transparency from your team.
Sure.
And sometimes we get a lot of communication, and sometimes there's next to nothing, um, and sometimes there's just the whole no news is good news type deal. Um, but are there? It's probably a question you wouldn't even be able to answer, but I mean, are there times where there are things that you could address but even don't? Or are you guys pretty good about just anything that you have the capability or information that is okayed to go out? Does that information go out?
So we really take it on a case by case basis, right? When you're dealing with a live game like this, where it's up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unless for server restarts or normal scheduled downtime, right? The idea is that um, you want to keep people playing,
Right.
right? So there's always this delicate balance of how much do we need to communicate? Where do we communicate? So are we putting this in the launcher feed? Are we making an article? Are we connecting with one of um, uh, the press junkets like Kotaku or something like that in order to convey a specific thing? Um, at this point, Cordovan takes most of the direct messaging, right? So
Right.
he's got standards and procedures and things of that nature, depending on the size of the thing, right? Obviously,
Okay.
for downtime, like if we're going to have an update in 2 weeks, or for a good example, the hot fixes last week, there's a set amount of time that we like to communicate to kind of give everybody the heads up. We try to communicate it as clearly as possible, and then that way, it's not really interrupting time. Then there are small little things, and I mean, I can speak to this because I've been here for 6 years and I've seen them in all shapes and sizes. But
Sure.
um, a game outage or a server problem, or stored downtime or unexpected hiccups in a series of coding problems or whatnot. So, and all those come in different sizes, right? Some have like minutes of interruption and some have days of interruption, right? And so the level at which you communicate is sort of garnished around the seriousness and the halo of impact. But we try to really focus in on uh, diminishing impact from the start, right? And
Right. Sure.
um, if one person is having a login problem, but everybody else is fine, we try to deal with that one individual, because it might be like a technical snafu or a computer setup or something like that. And so that's why we have our tech support team that you can contact through customer service. Whereas if it's like a global outage, or if we get hit when like one of the major service providers is like just got DDoSed or something, then and we can't even interact with anything. We're like, we're just as DOA as you guys are, and it's frustrating. But that's part of the reason why we have Facebook and Twitter and ways to connect with us
Sure.
outside of just the forums or just the game launcher, right? So that way you can try to get that information. We try to really direct message when we need to. So it varies. There are things that from a business standpoint that it probably shouldn't talk about.
Right.
But then there's the fun stuff where it's like, I want to tell you everything that's in 19 because I'm seeing it like right
Yeah.
here being made, right, and I can't say anything.
Right.
And it's both frustrating but joyous at the same time, because that's always one of those like quality benchmarks, is like, if I'm getting sort of nerd excited about it, like, oh my god, that looks so cool, then I know that we're in a good place, right? And I can use that as a thing to connect with you guys
Right.
about moving forward.
So if we kind of drill it down to like the store level, for example, a couple things there would be like for sales that are going on, or even to the degree of the free item of the week. Do you guys have that just on a specific rotation, or do you like try to like inject new stuff through that medium on a fairly regular basis?
Um, so sales are one of those things that are sort of one of the more organic pieces of the puzzle, right? There is planning that we look at per quarter or per half year. 1 year we actually planned out a skeleton for the entire year and then filled in um, at like a 6 month view.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that way we weren't necessarily stuck, and we could sort of more agile. Sorry, it's 11:30.
Oh, I know.
Words are hard. In a more agile respect, be able to like, oh, you know what? It would make more sense if we just did it like this and just switch the weeks. Um, at this point, we've gotten into a little bit of a cadence. We do have plans to sort of mix things back up. Spoiler alert. Um, and where they aren't necessarily in a specific rotation. There might be patterns that are discernible, but aren't necessarily something you could set a watch to.
Right.
And then there are other things that you can absolutely set a watch to um, within like a few weeks. And so there's always that um, marriage between just enough chaos and just enough planning so that everybody feels like they're getting the opportunity for the thing that they want, which is a very hard thing to pre-plan um, for, hundreds of thousands of people,
Sure.
because everybody wants something different at every moment in time. So we try to mix them up specifically to make sure that everybody's got a little something going on, right? So
All right.
yeah.
Let's see here. I actually need to pull up my email real quick for this one. This was actually something that was sent in to me, and I need to find it real quick.
I want the chat channel more hype, please. Just so you know.
More hype.
More hype.
So this is a question that actually came from Lala, and she was actually curious if they're ever going to bring back the shopping cart instead of just a single click, single purchase.
Yeah, that was actually one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we got with the new store design that launched last October. And it was something that we were sort of planning to bring back sooner. The problem was that the designers didn't necessarily have the bandwidth at that particular times, and it was sort of a new request. So we've worked really hard with getting a feature in the pipe so that they could build it out. We are in conversations with bringing something like that back. I don't have an ETA on when that could occur, but we are also very much on board with we had a lot of filtering based on cart purchases, right? If you want one of a whole bunch of different things and want to get a discount on that overall group purchase, right, you need a cart. If you want multiple versions of stat tomes and you only want to be in the store once, then you need a cart. So we've heard the feedback loud and clear. We're working on it. And I don't have an ETA.
Hey, that's all right. And I'm sure just hearing that it is something that, again, hearing that you've even, hey, we heard the feedback. It is something that we're working towards. That does go a long way. And that kind of goes back to that question I had originally with, if there's stuff that can be addressed that you have information for,
Right.
It's like, not something that's, widely talked about. I haven't really seen too much of that on the forums, but,
Right.
you see it every now and then.
Right, and I mean, it's so as like an example, when Vivienne was on the anniversary stream and we were talking about the EU servers, right? Sometimes we get news and we're not excited about it, and we know that you guys aren't going to be excited about it, and sometimes it's really boring, like
Right.
just contract didn't go through. That's the reason we can't do this thing. It sucks. Sorry. Um, but in our view, being honest to that level, I think, is important, because then there's a little transparency with the day-to-day, but at the same time we're being honest with you. We're not trying to sugarcoat it or anything like that. But then again, we can't necessarily talk about that stuff until it's done. Right. So that's one example, but I'm hoping all that stuff is. The unfortunate part is that you don't necessarily get the feedback that it's been understood. So that's sort of one of the more disappointing aspects to it. So hopefully this level of communication and stream and getting direct conversation through that and PMs and forums and all that stuff. Hopefully we can garnish that type of feedback.
Yeah, and that's actually something I've been really excited to do with this show as a whole, is to really start generating discussion, because that's kind of a downside of ticketing and forum posts and PMs, DMs, and all that kind of stuff is, well, okay, this is a live forum, which obviously right now you're going to see. Again, it's going to be a really small sample, but pretty much every aspect of social media is going to be a small sample. I mean, you've got your guys that only do Twitter. You've got your guys that only talk in world chat. You've got only your guys that talk on Facebook. So, and you've got all those small sample sizes. And I don't know, that was kind of a goal of mine, was having this show, is to have guys like you on to be able to have a live outlet through a community discussion. Because I know one of the things that had been kind of awesome, but kind of I don't want to say disappointing to the degree that it was just like, man, that was terrible, but it was just kind of like, maybe I personally was expecting a little bit more. Sometimes on live streams and whatnot, when it was maybe hosted or kind of like driven by the staff, you're kind of going to have an idea of what you want to talk about and what kind of message you want to convey.
Right. And
then doing something like this where it's player driven, I mean, there's still going to be questions where I ask you, you're like, yeah, I can't really talk about that, but it's I think it's a little bit different from a player's perspective to be able to ask those questions and have a community there, like in the chat right now, and talking and knowing that, hey, Quartermaster, you heard me, he saw me, and he addressed me personally, and I know that goes a long way for a lot of people and can kind of calm the doom and gloom, as we've been hearing again lately, which I find so much joy in reading all those posts.
I personally just think it's seasonal.
Yeah.
Winter's coming.
Oh no, yeah.
I'm gonna be inside. It's gonna be depressing. I'm gonna start worrying now.
Yep.
The sales of Christmas stuff starts earlier and earlier every year. The doom and gloom becomes earlier and earlier.
Oh yes, absolutely. And here comes the winter is coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I've watched happen a lot, and it's definitely something that I think a few people on staff have gotten more comfortable talking directly on stream and knowing that they're on stream and actively engaging with users, and that's still a very new thing to a lot of people.
Sure.
And with that respect too, the things that I get super excited about aren't necessarily the things that she gets super excited about, or that Maid of Lions gets super excited about, right? And so while the thing X, Y, and Z might be something that the designer or artist is really stoked about putting in, it might be like a 30-second thing to talk about, right?
Yeah.
But it's really meaningful for them. And so we all have those things. I talk about stuff all the time that I'm like, oh my god, I would bore people to tears with the stuff that I get super excited about. And so you tend to have to watch that. And Quarterman is really amazing at starting to drive those conversations. And I've had my hands in moving some of those conversations myself during the anniversary, and that was really fun. the hope is that we are actually talking about the things that get players really excited, right? But sometimes it's really hard to figure out at that moment what that thing is.
Right.
And so Then the professional outlet, the stuff for things that Quarterman has to sift through PMs and forum posts and social media and whatnot in order to try to find those things that we can, so that we can actually address them more directly or in a elongated forum, right? And one of the things that sort of was hindering us in that, and I did I just say made of? Oh no, Maiden of Rohan. Sorry.
No, sorry. I'm sitting here laughing at too at the Shing.
I looked out the side of my my eyes and I thought it was made of lions.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh god. All right.
And sorry, I'm over here laughing. There's a sound that plays like when people host and all that good stuff. And since I have you turned up, it just blasted my ears. So I had to turn that off. And everybody, there are some comments that just made me.
Look at him trying to compose himself.
Right. It ain't happening. No way.
If you want to laugh over the stuff I'm saying, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm just laughing at you. Don't worry.
Oh God. Oh, am I okay?
Yeah.
Am I on fire? So yeah, I think one of the things that was hindering us was like we were doing a lot of the streaming at our desks, which made it really hard to bring people on and show stuff that they were working on. Cordovan's worked really hard in getting a stream room together, which he's already used for Dungeons and Dragons Online and that particular stream team, and we're starting to use it more for the LOTRO team, and it has enough space that we can have like 5 or 6 people in there with a lot better sound quality.
Like a Bloodborne visitor.
Or more importantly, like not more importantly,
Nice, dude.
Bulldozing people now at midnight. I'm just like, whatever. Like a professor stream,
Yeah.
Corey back in and having him and Chris Pearson sit down, geek out for a little while. I've been wanting to get Maid of Lions and Chris Pearson on stream together for a while because I personally think that they're hilarious when in a small room together. And getting more of those interactions, I think, will loosen those wheels up and get people used to this type of communication. And also, it's a development process.
Sure.
Things change. When something isn't the right size or fit for a thing, it can sometimes get scrapped. So stuff that people see on the preview servers aren't necessarily something that shows up in live. So it's always moving. So it's always then the counter to this is, okay, we're talking a lot more, but now we can't talk about X, Y, and Z because what if those change?
Yeah.
And change is a really hard thing to communicate. So we've tended to lean on the error of like, well, let's just not talk about that thing, whatever that thing is, before we know it's like 99% complete.
Yeah.
Right. So know that it's something that we can deliver, and deliver at a quality bar that we feel is necessary for us. And so yeah, it's a moving process. It's really fun, and it's constantly changing. So
sure, I saw had a question roll by in the chat from Chromite, and it was, is there one person in particular that is more involved in getting housing and cosmetics made? Example, someone we should aim suggestions to.
There's not really one person in particular. A good chunk of the art team is really heavily involved with all aspects of steeds and cloaks and armor pieces and all that stuff. So, and any of that can get really turned into cosmetics of some level. There's the if you're already part of the Palantir program, you can leave feedback there. All of the developers actively check the forums. They may not respond, but they are actively reading them. And so that's one place where they can actually garnish some of that stuff too. As far as like store stuff specifically, we do have a store feedback section. Sometimes that gets lost compared to like a general discussion, which
Sure.
can get much more large and much more lively and cause many more eyeballs to get on and read it. But we're always looking for ideas and inspiration, because Todd DeMille is amazing, and he loves to really flesh out the look of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are things that he knows that users can get excited about, he's all for that type of stuff if we're able to fit it in.
Sure.
So forums are probably really the best place for it, because then you can also post like images and things of that nature, kind of give more of a flavor to the conversation.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean that's basically the best thing you can do. Join the community, Hawk.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what we've been doing. If you actually go back and watch the last episode of Echoes in the Dark, I actually had Andang on, and not sure if you're familiar with him or not, but part of the LOTRO Players News and LOTRO Players Alliance and all that good stuff with the podcasting and YouTube and whatnot. And actually, it's something that me and him are kind of trying to bring all these different factions of the community that we have together, as far as the podcasters, YouTubers, Twitch streamers, and all that kind of stuff, and really even kind of like cross promote each other, and
Right.
Because it's very segmented right now, and we really don't know what each other are doing, and it'd be a
Yeah.
really good thing, honestly. After we talked, he actually sent me a list of all the people that he knew that were doing podcasts or that had LOTRO content on YouTube or all those things, and
Nice.
so I'm gonna start adding that into my streams and to this show, just so people have those avenues to find out the type of news and content that they like and that they
Sure.
want.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something that I was kind of curious about what that might look. And this is probably a more of a Cordovan question, but
It's starting to sound like it, but I can give it a shot.
yeah, and it's just like as a team, I'm just kind of curious what even your thoughts are. I mean, if you can't answer it 100%, that's fine.
Sure.
But just what your thoughts are on ways that the LOTRO team can support those people that are trying to help support the game that you're working on.
Yeah. I think it's a tricky thing, right?
Oh, Cordovan is actually on the LOTRO stream account. That's
Yeah.
okay.
He's right
Cool.
there.
Yeah. All right.
And basically, I mean, he's hitting it right on the head. And I'll just read it out for any of those who don't want to read chat. Interesting. That's something on my agenda too, to get more holistic list of all the various things happening out there, then providing a good place where people can see what's up whenever.
Right.
And that was one of the big first initiatives he brought in when taking over the LOTRO community, was get up a schedule,
Mhm.
right? So when you're coming to the Twitch channel, who's streaming? When are
Right.
they streaming? How can I get interested in this thing, right? Because then you look at YouTube for content, and the big thing about YouTube content creators is about consistency,
Right.
right? Uploading a video every blank, right?
Right.
It could be every Tuesday, every Friday, whatever, right? But a person is going to subscribe to you because they see you are being consistent, and that you are bringing a level of content quality that they're interested in.
Sure.
Right? So if anyone is interested in Lord of the Rings Online, and you should be, because it's an amazing place,
Absolutely.
I felt like that was necessary to say.
Oh, don't have to tell me. I've been here for 9 years. So
And so, you know, with the amount of passion that this player base has, supporting each other, I think, is paramount, right?
sure, I do too.
there was this completely forget. I have the link somewhere. I can find it. There was a person, I forget what server. It might have been Brandywine, who put together basically a fashion blog of all the various cosmetic outfits and
That
different
was
things.
Sithrith, I think.
It might have been. I
No.
have. All right, this is gonna bother me. So I need to look to see if I still have it.
There may have actually been 2 people that did that. I think Sithrith did that for a while, and then there may have actually been another person that did it as well.
There's a couple. Shoot, where did I put it?
Yeah, I think there are 2 people that were doing that. Let's see here. I'm just gonna scroll back up in chat real quick because I think I missed something that I wanted to touch on.
All right, that's gonna bother me. I can't find the link. Oh no.
And Chromite says there are many LOTRO cosmetic fashion blogs.
And I mean, there's people who are passionate about the steeds. They're passionate about cosmetics. They're passionate about certain aspects of the culture.
Oh, sure.
One of my absolute favorite genres of these are people who do sort of like a day in the life of whatever their character is doing. So it's as if their character is blogging, or if it's more of like a captain's log of what they did that day. With pictures and all this, I mean, it can get involved, which I absolutely love, right? Because it's telling me that they're passionate about these particular aspects of the game, which then you can turn those around, right? And you can say, hey, you know, guys, this is what our users are doing with their stuff.
Right.
How do we want to nurture it, right? And we may not have an answer right away, or we might already be doing something, or we may have like part of a solution implemented that users are using in one way. And that's always the fun thing that I keep hearing, just sort of like in design theory periodically over the past couple of years, is sort of like, all right, you have this idea of this thing and you're going to build it and you're going to put it out there, but as soon as somebody else gets it, it's literally out of your control, and they can kind of do things with it that you didn't think about. And it's always fun to hear people do that. I remember walking past somebody using the music system for the first time, and was putting original sheet music, processing it through the ABC script, and I was mesmerized. It brought me back to, you know, my radio show days and my DJ friends and all that, of, you know, people starting to learn Fruity Loops and try to write their own stuff.
Right.
And the struggle's real, man. So give that guy a couple gold next time you see somebody.
Oh, I'd give out money. So actually, I just saw the comment go by from Jogo about basically the pricing of certain things, and he brings up a very interesting point, specifically with like trait trees. So there seems to be things that I get a feeling like, that doesn't cost too much. I'll go ahead and snag that up. And then you'll get a feeling of something like Jogo mentions with the trait trees, like buying an additional trait spec is 100 mythal coins, which is about 800 turbine points. I mean, that feels like a lot. Because, you know, all of us that have however many characters and we want to do all these different things with them, man, that stacks up quick. And, you know, I know there's got to be some balance there with, you know, the always the thing I have to bite my tongue on is when I see people say that it's a cash grab. And it's like, well, it's a for-profit business. They got to make money to stay open, you know.
Yeah, that's the reality of things, is that this is a business, right? In order to keep producing the story that we love and the game that we love, these fine folks need to be able to keep their lights on at home too, right? But there is always a good middle ground. So keep in mind that you know, LOTRO's been a free-to-play game for quite a number of years at this point, and as populations shift and the demographics change, and player population style and gameplay style changes over time, the demand for certain things fluctuates, right? And even with the rule of supply and demand, you can adjust prices accordingly. Um, so a price that might have been good at the initial design may need adjustment,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of what me and Tolero do on a regular basis is try to get an idea of what the economy is looking like,
Mm-hmm.
adjusting it both for um, user value, but also making sure that we're not diminishing um, the return that we get overall,
Sure.
right? Um, because if you remove something that costs 800 turbine points and you make it free, for example, then you're no longer making 800 turbine points in exchange, right?
Right.
So making sure that there is a couple things that maybe can fill that gap, or one thing at a similar price but maybe at a different value,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So it's always something that's on our radar. We don't necessarily there are very few things that we will quick pivot to change unless it's like a major typo,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, we take the money very seriously, and so therefore we tend to move a little slower on adjusting prices,
Sure.
just because they touch many more things, and we want to make sure that we're not disrupting, or that we have a future plan that can help make up some of the stuff, right? So we definitely get that feedback a lot, about a whole bunch of different stuff, and the big thing that we can talk about is the fact that everybody buys differently.
Sure.
Everybody's
Yeah.
got a different reason for buying. There's stuff that means the world to some players that doesn't mean anything to other people, and so there's always that balance, right? And so we'll take the feedback. We'll absolutely look at those things, um, and we do try to adjust
Yep.
moving forward. And it's something that we're really sensitive to. So we want to make sure that we're doing it for the right reasons and the right way, so that way the game can keep going,
Yeah.
and also the users get the best bang for their buck too.
Absolutely. There was a question about from Gussie about downloadable content on Steam or in game, with that going on sale anytime soon. And I know those are pretty widely talked about when the actual content itself goes on sale. Because if you get new players that are coming in and they have an opportunity to hit that at that lower price, but that kind of factors back into the whole balance piece with, you know, it is a business, and
Yeah.
you gotta make
Um,
money to stay in
yeah.
business.
Yeah, it's Steam. Steam is a very very busy marketplace that you get a lot of support from them when they do their big sales. So uh, we sometimes plan for those, and sometimes we go rogue to see
Sure.
who's paying attention in those areas. But we very much leverage the store.turbine.com, which is the link. So if you go to LOTRO store and there's a LOTRO market link,
Mm-hmm.
you click on that. That's where you're taken. We have much more control over when those sales can go. We have much more control of the longevity of the sales and over what weekends, and so we tend to lean on that a lot more. Um,
Sure.
there was a follow-up. So Jogo, and I just want to say hi to Jogo. Jogo brings up a lot of these comments um, in chat when I used to stream too. And one of his follow-ups is sometimes it can be smarter to reduce the price and get more buyers. Um, one of the big things that a lot of people don't really fully grasp about a free-to-play game is that the supply and demand curve shifts based on consumption and based on demand, but that demand doesn't necessarily deplete a storeroom, right? I don't have only 100 copies of this thing, right? And so sometimes volume works, sometimes it doesn't, and so we want to be very careful with that, because if everything was priced at like 5 turbine points, we'd all be homeless, right? So again, it all comes down to that balance, and you have to have something for everybody at every like a good number of price ranges. That way, people who feel value in certain areas feel happy enough to purchase, and they feel like they're actually getting the value for the money that they're putting out there.
Yeah, and I think, like, speaking on specifically like the trait trees, for example, and them being 100 mithril coins per, someone like myself, where I do have 11 characters that I have, multiple trait specs on,
right.
That's expensive. I mean, there's no other way to put that. That's expensive. But I mean, I'm VIP, so I get my 500 a month, and so I can put that towards mithril coins, and might get lucky with a Hobbit present here and there. But to somebody who has one character, that might not be that bad. So again, that kind of touches on what you were talking about of the consumption. For me, yeah, if I have 11 characters and I even do just one extra trait spec, holy crap. I mean, I'm shelling out some bucks for just my traits alone. But I've got a couple friends that they have religiously only played one character, and they're okay to buy 3 or 4 extra trait specs just to play around, and it really they don't bat an eye at it. So I totally understand where you're coming from on that, and I totally understand where Jogo's coming from that, because I'm on that flip side as well.
Oh yeah, I absolutely understand all sides of it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I try to be as neutral and as Gnostic as possible,
Sure.
because I'm looking out for the best parts of over here. I'm looking out for the best parts over here.
Mm-hmm.
And for a position where typically in a marketing department, the brand and the e-commerce or any type of commerce is pretty much separated. So having this joined position that you almost have some conflicting ideals, right? But
Yeah.
because of that, you also get the chance to look at everything more holistically,
Mm-hmm.
which I think has been a wise choice on our end, in that things over the past couple years have we've been able to make a little smarter choices about some of these things, and then systematically start going back through and starting to revisit
Sure.
a lot of what's going on. So mithril coin pricing, just like turbine point pricing, can change, and we're always open to suggestions, especially if it's causing a real pain for people. Those are the things that we tend to prioritize more, because we don't want people to feel bad about wanting to spend money, right?
Yeah,
we want them to enjoy their time, and if this is something that we can kind of ease up, then we're more than happy to try and do it as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to point out really quick that even though it is almost midnight, we still have 60 viewers in here right now.
Oh, channel hype.
Yep.
Hold on.
Yep. Get it going. Get it going.
Can't spell channel. There you go.
Gotta hurt before you derp.
Yeah. I'm
So,
like, C-H-E? No, C-H.
Hanelchipe.
Channel. Yeah. This is going to be on the internet forever, and I'm never going to regret this.
No, never. So a couple quick things, and then one kind of large thing, and then we'll try to wrap it up, because I know it's you'll have to be probably in bright and early.
Yeah, I got to be back here in like 8-9 hours. That's fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
So this is actually a question I asked you one of the last few times that you had your stream, and since we're talking about the store and items and things like that, you'll probably remember as soon as I ask it. But it was, if you could personally bring any one item to the store without restriction, what would it be and why?
If I could bring anything,
Mm-hmm.
like anything back, or just anything.
Just anything. If you could say, "Hey guys, we're gonna put this item in the store," and not even Saul Zance can say anything about it. You can just put this item in the game, and it is QuartermasterU's item. What is it and why?
I don't know if I want to say this because they have my personal cell phone number. I don't know. That I mean, the thing is like, I think I deal a lot conceptually with like realism
Mm-hmm.
of what's actually possible. So it's, I mean, I've always loved the idea of uh, I love flying mounts, but that's not a thing. Not even really lore based, and the chat will probably completely disagree with me on that because of eagles. And eagles are, they're basically no, that
They don't care.
eagles will not take money from you to fly you around. That's not a they don't care about your coin. The coin does not mean let's see. I don't I would have wow. I think kinship matching anything I think would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, banners, flags, cloaks. I love cloaks. I mean, we already got a
Ooh, I
bunch of
see one in
those.
there. Drakes.
Um, yeah, Drake mounts. Maybe, I don't know. Who would train the Drakes though? That's the bigger question. Um,
An
I
in-game
don't know.
Bloodborne pet.
What, an in-game Bloodborne? You just ride the back.
Lowrider Hogs versus Rohan PvP. All right.
See, so you basically, this has just sparked something for me and Jerry to debate seriously tomorrow.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I mean, I just create more work for myself. That's really all I do. Let's see. I like really funny things. I like things that make me laugh. So I love a lot of the emotes, right? I love also some of the animation fun that you can have with them. Just the fact that you can run around while rolling on the ground. I think there needs to be um, uh, maybe just a hint more modern dances. But again, you're trying to keep with the times, right? I don't know. I would want an Oliphant mount.
Oh yeah.
Because those things
So
are massive.
it's funny that you mentioned that because I won't say the game, but there is another game that has a mount that is a large mount that your fellowship members or your group members can actually jump on as well.
Happen to have certain characters strapped to the back that you could buy things out of, would it?
No.
I've never heard about this before.
Yes. That
No lie.
can we get a dab emote? No. Please no. Never.
I'm not one for kicking people out of chat, but that's pretty close.
Okay, I think we'll have to move on from that one. All right. Let's see. Okay, this is something that me and some of the guys in some of the other live streams have talked about, and I mentioned it to you in a couple of private messages. Was physical merchandise. So where does Warner Brothers stand with that? Turbine stand with that? As far as even like swag, being able to buy LOTRO stuff.
Sure. So historically we haven't done it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I, I think there have been multiple uh, forward progressions with a lot of like independent producers and things of that nature, where you can actually, as a company, produce higher quality, physical merchandise of various types, and then they do all the heavy lifting. I think a lot of people's initial fears around doing merchandising was that, oh, great, we're gonna have to order the shirts, and then we're gonna have to coordinate the screen printing,
and then you're gonna have to sit on it.
And then we're going to have to spend an entire 2 days rolling up shirts, and then who's going to do the printouts for all the package labels and so on and so forth.
Here goes the swag hype.
Which is part of the reason why we always did very limited limited quantity shirt runs. Right, because right now, I can't show you because we have confidential stuff that I've written up on a dry erase board, but we're sitting on like 7 boxes of these, right? And they were designed so that we can hand them out, personal meet and greets, that sort of thing, mailing them to streamers and stuff like that. And Gussie, I'm sorry, I'll get your shirt. And so we've been thinking about it, weighing the pros and cons, and I think we're getting to a point where now that the art team and the marketing team are sort of utilizing the same people, we're sort of like, maybe that's a thing now. So we've talked about it.
Okay.
We have no idea where that can go yet, but we're definitely that type of team now, which is much more MacGyver-esque. Like, we can figure out a thing if that's the thing that we want, right? So we're definitely thinking about it. I have no timeline.
Yeah, Halfpine's got a good one in there too, because with like some of the concept art and stuff like that you guys have like even put out, like say the stuff that's in the Minds of Moria art book, like having that stuff in print form. Oh my god.
There was so we have collector's editions, and the old the big Shadow of the Vanguard box that came with a collector's edition art book. Curating art is, really time consuming, and with the amount of concept art that we've put together,
there's actually real quick
projects that we've wanted to do.
There's a couple people. I know Tech Slave was actually one of the guys that won a t-shirt from one of my streams, and that one actually never showed up as well. Would that be something, if I get a list of people that won stuff, could I forward that to you?
Just CC Jerry, and we can work that out.
Okay, absolutely. I probably actually have the emails still anyway.
Sure.
So I would like to get that, because I know that was actually some frustration that was sent my way, because it was, there was a lot of hype around it, because, hey, we're getting shirts, and then, well, that kind of made me look bad too, as far as the stuff never showed up.
Yeah, bandwidth stuff aside, we want to make good on the things that we promise, right?
Right.
It's really important. So they're right there. I'll do it. I'll even write a little handwritten note.
Aww. All right, cool. I will. So if any of you guys that are in the stream right now, I will know, because this book right here, I write all stuff down. So if you email me and say you got one, I will know if you got one. I will tell me all your secrets.
They promised me a pony. Druid never promised you a pony. Although, Druid, I still have your Lieutenant the Right Honorable Wolfie Tootsie Pants the Third Esquire whale shirt. You've seen this, right, Blood?
I don't think I have.
I'm pretty sure.
Is this where the no.
This was the whale photo?
No, I never saw that.
So, those of you who know Druid's Fire in chat, made a joke during one of my streams, and it got out of control, and then that showed up in the mail. It's now prominently displayed on my desk.
See, I get the shirts that I'm wearing show up in the mail randomly.
It's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. But so like, yeah, I mean, and I'm just gonna throw it out there because I wouldn't be doing my player duty if I didn't ask.
Okay.
So, we'll throw like physical merchandise all the way back to Mines of Moria, where you had physical copies and stuff like that. I know.
What? No.
Um,
I'm prepping myself.
So I have my awesome leather magnetic Mines of Moria collector's edition box down there, and I have my other stuff somewhere in here, but that one's actually displayed. There was some talk of a potential larger update, maybe. If that was a possibility, is that something you guys would explore? Not necessarily doing, because I know the physical distribution side of things is kind of a pain in the butt anymore with how easy digital distribution is.
Right. It's always one of those things that comes up periodically in conversation around, well, wouldn't it be cool to do a box again? Boxes are a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, sure.
I think we, along with a lot of developers, have gotten very comfortable with DLC, and we're probably not going to move from that anytime soon. Not to say that there might be or warrant a complete collection edition thingy-majobber, whatever. That's not the official title.
I will be looking for that one on the shelf.
That'll be the day I get fired. Is when the title on the brand new box is the complete collection Madabi Majujabber, and everybody's like, who copywrote this? I just pack all my stuff in a box and I leave. Basically, there's no yes or no. It's a concept at best at this point for anything in the future, and we always put everything up on the table, and then we look at it realistically as a team, and it's like, can we pull this off?
Right. Sure.
Yes or no. So I'll throw it back in the ring. Why not?
Yeah.
Have another discussion about it. Maybe there's a better solution to doing it, or a better way to test it, or maybe it doesn't even have to have game CDs in it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I looked at was so if you had, for example, if you have like your basic edition where you're just buying an expansion, we'll just call it that.
Sure.
So if you just buy an expansion and cool, when that content releases, I can play it and we're good to go. So you got your lowest price point, and then you've got your your digital middle grade or even higher grade, and then for those uber nerds out there, because we exist, we're right here.
What?
We're the ones sitting here at 12:10 in the morning watching people on Twitch talk about stuff.
As I stare at the Twitch chat.
Yes. And then so you make that, a limited release even. It doesn't have to be like just volumes and volumes of this product because you're not going to push, hundreds of thousands of copies of this thing. You're going to several hundred of them, and when they're gone, they're gone. And then the only other thing you can buy at that point is the digital higher end that doesn't have the physical stuff.
And when thinking about the future, I mean, we always put these types of things up on the board, and sometimes they're game and sometimes they're not.
Sure.
It's we're kind of in a brand new world with our headspace and the way that the team's built and all this stuff, and we're really looking forward to doing some things that really test our limits moving forward. So I mean, again, yeah, I'm up for all the ideas. Put them in a ring, see how they fare. I like it when people poke holes in my theories and and all that stuff. So
No one will buy that. Really? Because we've got like 500 pre-orders for it. What?
yeah, I mean, you already made it. What? No, I'm sorry. I bought it. I put it on my credit card. Can you please reimburse me? Like, no, we know it didn't okay this. And then I live in a cardboard box, but everybody's happy, right? So it's always possible. Why not?
Sure. Well, I got one little small thing, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up here, so you can go get to bed. One small thing was that we were seeing a couple of people, and people were asking me this specifically because I was going to be talking to you today.
Sure.
Is that there are certain accounts that are not getting emails, like any of the promotional stuff that goes out, or like the sales stuff. Like myself, I have two accounts. I have my free to play account, and then I have my main live account. So I just thought nothing was being sent out through you guys for the longest time, because I would still get my like store purchases stuff.
Hmm.
So like I was like, oh, it's still working. They're just not sending stuff out.
Right.
But then when I actually created the free to play account,
Hmm.
I actually get the weekly stuff now, or like when the sales and stuff come out. And I even went back to the my account and even on the forums, and I checked all those settings, and it's all flagged for receiving, but still nothing gets it. So
Right.
that's the only thing I was kind of concerned about from hearing a
Sure.
lot of people that aren't getting that stuff, and that's
Yeah.
kind of a bummer.
Yeah. A long time ago, in a land not so far away, the way that our account system was worked out was that you could sign up through the sign up page,
Hmm.
create an account. You could then go to myaccount.turbine and adjust your account and your
Hmm.
settings and whatnot. And there was a setting there that you could basically check off, like, I don't want to receive an
Okay.
email, right? Part of the problem with the way that I think it was originally set up was that if you went back in, you couldn't really opt back in. So if
Okay.
you ever click that off, you're basically exercised, sadly. Um, but we do have a separate list, so there's just not a very elegant way to get to that particular list without requesting it. And
Okay.
I think that was part of the legalese requirement, was that it had to be some type of weird. I mean, this is like 10 years ago when this was built. Um, uh, so we can, if there are people who are interested in receiving the newsletter, I know that a few people have contacted through customer support and given
Hmm.
their email address, and then we can get that onto the list.
Kind of like
Um,
manually flag it then.
yeah, basically, what that does is it sort of overrides the flagging, but we only put people there who have given us verbal permission that yes, they want to actually receive the stuff. Um, so that's one way to do it. I'm personally interested in correcting that flow because it's been a pain point for me for quite some time.
Hmm.
And making the sign up flow easier and all that other stuff. That's stuff that I'm going to be looking at in the near future. So I'm personally really interested in it. So
Okay.
um, we can figure out an additional way if contacting customer support isn't something that somebody's um, player level allows them to do, whether they're free, premium, or VIP, and we can try to start garnishing those if people are actually really interested in getting the weekly emails and things of that nature.
Okay. And then just the last thing on like the email stuff would be as far as all the kind of push and progression that we're seeing um, with all of our media outlets as far as Twitch and YouTube and podcasts and things like that. Is it outside of the realm of possibility to get that information together? Not even if you're not specifically listing individuals, but letting people know about those avenues as a whole, um, in more of a newsletter type deal.
So Cordovan put together a newsletter that does really well with the DDO folk.
Okay.
Um, and it's something that we've been exploring as far as a concept of what we would put in it and all that stuff. So it's still in a very dirty concept phase, but it may be something that we're able to fully explore or flesh out in the near future.
Okay.
Cordovan is very, very focused on ease of access, right? You know, getting the community the information it needs the fastest way possible and the most friendly way possible. So our missions collide very regularly,
Okay.
right? Because I want you all to know stuff, and he wants you all to know stuff, and so it's just a matter of, well, so where do we do this? And I mean, this kind of conversation goes all the way back to wait, U19 leak? What? Don't freak me out like that. Don't do that.
It's too late. You might actually make it happen.
Even if it's vague but exciting. No.
It's QuartermasterU 19.
Oh, it is my update. Yes. It's not really my update at all.
Is it going to be epic?
There is epic in it. There are things.
Things.
Is something that I can tell you is that update 19 will be titled March of the King. So.
Ooh, all right. I'll take that.
You will follow Yon King to points undisclosed.
All right.
At this moment.
I can take that. I can take that.
Yeah, March of the King, man. I was super excited when it got approved, and you know, Salvance is happy with it, so that's where I'm at.
So is that basically what it is for you guys? Like, if it gets approved, that's it. Then it's just ultimately just when you want to spill it.
So there's a combination, right? You know, it's going back to Maid of Lions and Dr. Octothorpe and wondering, you know, what's actually going to be part of the epic, what's going to be part of the stories, right? Because we want our titles to have something to do with the thing that you're going to do.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Especially with, I mean, Battle of Pelennor Fields, right? Like, handed to me. That's super easy.
Yeah.
Right? But you're going to do this. This is a thing that you are going to get to experience, right? So, but there's nothing more disappointed than being like, all right, update 46, giant purple hat, and then you log in and you have a green t-shirt. Right? It's like,
yep.
But you said giant purple hat. I was super stoked about the giant purple hat, but I got this green t-shirt. Right? So with something that and some of the updates, like some of the earlier updates, like update 2, and you know, after that, Great River, for example, was sort of like you're doing stuff that's important, but we have to package it in a name that kind of works, right? So I mean, we've gone through an evolution, and I think we're just at a point in the story, right, where a lot of these titles are just epic, man. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's kind of no-brainers, but we work very closely with Maid of Lions, getting back to my original point before I tangented it off. Midnight. We work really closely to make sure that we're paying attention to the design documents so that we know what the actual story is going to be going on, and you know, is the title something that makes sense for the experience that you're getting? Are you actually going to do some of this? Are you actually going to see him? What is your character doing while main guy is going and doing X, Y, and Z? Where's Legolas? Where's Gimli? Where's Bilbo? Where's Frodo? And making sure that, you know, depending on what the focus is, right, naming it accordingly and getting in the dock. So update 19, March of the King.
Excellent. I'm excited. Now I'm not going to be able to sleep.
Well, you should sleep, because sleep is important.
Yes. Speaking of which, I realize it is almost 12:30 here, so I know, 73. So,
Oh, apparently I have a delay. That's exciting.
it just happened like briefly.
Okay.
Um, so that just proves my point. I know you guys out there watch this late. Where have you been? Where are you hiding? Um,
Channel hype.
yeah, channel hype. Let's stay on till 6 a.m. I gotta take my kid to school. um, no, but seriously, thank you so much for coming on. I know it's late, and even if you live close, I do appreciate it, and I know these guys in here appreciate having you here.
All good.
And
I feel bad for people like Gussie who only get me in chat periodically, but unfortunately she streams while I'm working, so it makes it hard. Um, but yeah, I had a really good time. I know I ramble. I'm a little long-winded.
hey,
Hopefully
that
I didn't
makes it easy for me.
freak people out.
So anyway, I'll go ahead and let you go, and then if there's anything that you, any final words you want to have for the chat, and then that'll do. And now we got 76. Oh, you're gonna have to stay on now. Like,
Oh, you want to just round this off and say 1 o'clock, or you can just keep going?
I, I'm good. I mean, I want to be respectful of your time.
Who's following? Follow all the things. Um,
Follow all the things.
follow all the things. Um, so basically, we're at a point now where um, we really have the time to be able to listen in depth
Hmm.
and talk in depth and um, not only nurture a community but also be part of it, right? Which I think is a different thing, right? It used to just be like the community was over here and we would interact with it from like sort of a top-down thing.
Yeah.
These types of conversations, right?
Hmm.
We're gamers, we're designers, we're um, in love with the same things that you guys are in love with, from video games to the books to the movies. We love all of them across the board. So we want to share in that and we want to nurture that. So um, we're really super honored to be able to do this on a regular basis for all of you. And these types of shows are exactly what we want to be happening, right? We
Yeah,
want
absolutely.
people to be making their own stuff and talking about it and blogging and podcasting and being excited for the things that we're also excited about. It's just sometimes we don't get to come up for air long enough to
Yeah, yeah, I totally get that. And I
oh,
mean,
they
like,
did a thing with the thing that I like. Oh, okay, and I gotta go back and I gotta keep going, right?
right.
So uh, we're
Yeah,
here.
and it's I mean, I know from personal experience, like trying to line up schedules, it might be like, hey, I'm available all day, man. Where are you at? And it's like,
Yeah,
well, I have a job too.
yeah,
So, and
yeah.
I totally get it, and that's why I said like anytime I get a chance to talk to any of you guys, it's a real pleasure. Just to again, it's still kind of even weird for me, honestly, having played the game since 2007, and then I go to work and tell guys like, yeah, I'll be doing a show tonight, and I'm gonna be talking to somebody from the actual from the team, and they're like, what? You do that? I'm like, yeah. It's pretty cool, and just to have that kind of connection is really, I think, something that's pretty special. And the fact that you guys take time to do it, because we all know you don't have to. Um, but I think it speaks to the dedication of the team that you guys are on, that you want to do things even at 12:30 at night, when you got to be at work at the next morning. So, like I said, I certainly appreciate it, and I know it's a little bit tougher. I think I'm in kind of an odd spot because uh, having a full time job and taking care of the kid and everything, and then I joke about it like I give you guys everything I got left.
Yeah.
At 10 o'clock rolls around when my wife goes to sleep. It's like, all right, game time. Let's go down there, turn everything on, and we have a party till 2 a.m. till I face plant on the desk, or literally just fall asleep. And that's kind of why I mentioned to you in that direct message. Is like I really want to just I just want to push, and there's so much that I just want to
Sure.
do, and um, you get excited about it, and you want to do all these things and reach out to all these people, and really just see how far you can go.
Yeah, I mean it's absolutely mind-boggling when you create enough of a space for people to sort of just be creative in it.
Hmm.
And I don't know how many of the viewers know, but we have a Slack channel just for all the streamers, right? And just being able to interact with you in that way, right, is you get a completely different perspective. You find out things a heck of a lot faster sometimes
Yeah.
because they're they're interacting with the community in other channels that sometimes don't get to the forum first, right? So it's casting a wider net and watching a whole bunch of other people get excited and be creative, and
Hmm.
it's been really fun to watch um, how everybody else's channels are set up and
Hmm.
the design choices and the things that they choose to play through.
Yeah.
And just it absolutely just floors me that there are people around the entire world
Hmm.
literally playing the same thing at the same time. I
Right.
mean, that makes me sound like totally 90s,
Oh,
right?
no, no, no. I totally
You
get
have
it.
the internet, like, oh my lord, like I talked to somebody in England, right?
I
Like
Yeah, dude, I know exactly what you mean. I was going through the analytics on YouTube, and I had to have somebody else look at it. I was like, is this saying what I think it's saying? Because I was looking through it, and I had uh, channel views in 196 countries, and
yeah,
I was like, what?
yeah,
I don't understand. I'm playing a game, and I'm just putting up what? I don't understand this.
right.
So it was definitely very eye opening, and even with the live streams, and people come in and are like, "Yeah, man, just getting up and I'm taking the kids to school, and I thought I saw you come on." I'm like, "Dude, it's like 12 p.m. here, or it's 12 a.m. I'm about to go to bed." It's like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Ireland." I'm like, ha, "Okay, hi."
Yeah, and I think Half Pint Hurricane nailed it right on the head, right? It's the magic of this IP, right?
Hmm.
Um, the the world created by him, and I mean, just for instance, I marked on the calendar in 2 days, well, 3 days, Wednesday, depending on your point of view.
Right.
Um, I mean, that was the original publishing of The Hobbit 79 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And that fueled all of this,
Hmm.
right? And my dad used to read me these, and I then followed up reading all of them, and that was like the first major bonding moment with him of our first read throughs of
Right.
these things, right? And then some of these guys have multiple iteration collections, and Chris Pearson, has literally spent 20 years of his life with this,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Um, and scholars and everything that this is fueled, right? And it's fueled a whole bunch of other fantasy genres and other games and other games worlds and their IPs,
Hmm.
and there's so much out there that all stems from this thing, right? And so we all have this joint love for being in this world, and that's absolutely one of the things that I
Right.
try to center this whole thing on, right? And so it's always really nice to just reconnect with that. um, and yeah, 80-year celebration in 2 years. Yeah, next year, do it.
That's crazy.
And it's it's always humbling, right? To know that you're just a part of this massive thing, right?
Sure.
um, So this is cool. This is people around the world, and you know, I think it's something crazy like 200 languages or something. It's been printed in, and
Yeah.
you know, um, I love logging into Brandywine and seeing all the hey, come join our kin, but it's all in Russian, and I
Right.
love it. I love it. And it's great to see the passionate players get motivated and get together and have fun, right? And get to run around in this world that we've painstakingly recreated. And it's just awesome.
This is why we need swag. We need to represent.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, trust me. I mean, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. It's you know, the to do list is long.
Yes, yes, it is. I totally get that with even doing, the different types of content that I do with just even trying to have a night where I play the game and I don't do live streaming and I don't do recording. And I mean, because I've got stuff that's recorded that I haven't even used yet. So yeah, I've got stuff that you guys haven't seen yet.
Life of the YouTuber.
Right? Gotta have that backlog, man. You gotta
In
have.
case you go on vacation or get sick, you miss an upload date.
Well, if you guys noticed when I posted that Moria video, it was published like it went on my account 2 hours before I left for vacation, and then as soon as I get to the condo, I open up my laptop and I start doing all the tagging and everything because it finally had completely published. So I did
Right.
all the tagging, and then I posted it, closed my laptop, and went down to the pool. I was like, "All right, there you guys go. There's some fodder for you."
Nice. Nice.
So yeah, I totally get that, and I just look forward to even being able to, I people have seen it when I do my live streams and when we got Osgiliath and I was riding along the road uh, that butts up against the Ash Mountains, and I'm like, okay, I know what's on the other side of that. It's over there. And then riding up to the
Yeah.
gates of the Morgul Vale, I'm like, oh my god, I want to go back there so bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see all that stuff, and it's man, it's so cool just to see
Yeah.
that stuff.
There's more story and more world, man. Like, that's, I think, the thing that makes us so excited, right? Is that um, we're not done, right?
Yeah,
Um, and there's so much more to do. So we're again going back to a conversation that we had like almost an hour ago about the fact that we're thinking that
right.
far out, like 1 year, 2 year. What other things can we be doing with this?
Yeah, absolutely.
What other places do we really love in this world that we haven't been able to fully flesh out yet? Right.
Oh yeah, dude, it's kind of crazy if you even look at the map and you go to the starting area for a lot of places. What if you're like if you're in Thorin's Gate and you go to the map, you go one map out into Ered Luin and you see like to the Grey Havens and to you go over to the Shire and like there's that big gap between because there's that portal between the road that's in Ered Luin to the
Yep.
Shire, and you have all that stuff in the far downs. Like there's so much, and that small, super small segment of Mirkwood that we touched. I mean,
Yep.
it's just crazy how massive Mirkwood is, and we got a pretty sizable chunk, but it's still pretty small in comparison. Um, it's just crazy.
Zingor trying to catch the confidential board across the glare of my glasses. It's,
No, you gotta be careful with him. He'll Photoshop like text on there. It'll say like, even though you've said it already, you'll see a Twitter post that'll have "March of the King" in your glasses.
do it, do it. I want everybody excited about
Oh yeah.
update 19, right? And it's coming,
So that's
right?
one of the things I would love
Yeah.
to do. I mean, it's kind of like a little side goal of mine. It'd be so cool, like for an anniversary or like next year would be 10 years. Um, I would love to, as a streamer, to come out there during the 10th anniversary and just party it up with you guys and broadcast for you. You know, um,
Yeah.
I would love to play some content there with you guys, and I I'd be down to make it happen. I'd be all over that. Um,
Yeah, any types of plans for tenure is like there's a whole nother book that
oh, I don't
explodes
doubt
those.
it.
So it's like it's something that's been on our mind since the 9th anniversary,
Yeah.
right? And uh, we definitely want to try to make it meaningful. And I'm just gonna stop.
Yep.
There.
Don't go too far. There you go. Blood hosts the anniversary stream.
Oh God, I didn't say it. I'm sorry.
Nope, Meg said it, not me.
Jared's
Uh,
gonna be so angry at me tomorrow.
oh, he can come yell at me. Um, no, but that's the stuff that I've seen stuff in the past.
Half Pint already agreed to coordinate the pub crawl.
Oh, all right. Sounds like you're on board now.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh, that'd be so cool. Get it done. Make it so. Yeah, so and even things like when there are updates and things like that, um coordinating with you guys, because I've seen other games that have done launches and stuff like that, and where they have brought in some of their community guys, especially some like the ones that have been around for a while, or they're big names that are in their community, and they've brought them in to showcase their content because they know how to do it. And so I don't know. I've watched that happen and be like, wow, I wish we could do that with Lotro, because I mean, it gives other people something to aspire to then too, if they're broadcasting or if they're doing, YouTube content, and it's like, man, we could maybe actually do that then. That'd be something pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're always up for new ideas. I mean, obviously, limited resources and whatnot, and limited space.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't bring in like 400 people. You know what I mean?
Oh
But,
yeah.
um,
Well, not with that attitude.
I can bring in 400 people. I
You got a roof, don't you?
yeah, it's a good point. I don't think I have access to the roof. Now that I think about it. But anyway,
I'll bring a ladder. Half Pint will bring a ladder.
I'm right under a skylight, so I mean, we have a fake way to roof. Um, but in all honesty, I mean, like the just trying to marry everybody's ideas together.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I think the most recent uh, shift was just getting a little bit more coordinated calendar, right? And now whatever the next
Right.
iteration of that would be. And I know
Half Pint brings a ladder everywhere. Well, I mean,
are you serious?
she is a half pint, so I mean.
Oh, that's fair, but it's been a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I just made a short joke. Oh no. Oh, what did I do? Oh God, please don't hate me.
You'll live.
All right, cool.
She threatens me all the time.
Oh, that's good. Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's not something that's in my wheelhouse to promise or not promise. And like like I said, I'll take all ideas and all oncomers, and we'll see what can happen. I know that we've already been brainstorming some stuff that I can't talk about that doesn't necessarily touch the current topic, but as far
Yeah.
as like community engagement, getting back out and reconnecting with people face to face, it's been something that has been on our board as far as like things that we desperately want to start doing again.
Did you catch the comment in there by Wolfenhood about auction hall?
I don't know if you missed my text, but there is a way to put a cap on goods being sold in auction houses. It's gotten ridiculous and people prices are changing for goods on it. So there's a couple different things with that. So one, it would be a code fix. 2, that's up to the designers, and 3, as people have higher engaged characters and multiple of them, farming gold is a heck of a lot easier, right? Especially if you're doing like uh, scrades and other instances like that where it kind of just falls out of the woodwork. Um, and so there's sort of a strata of a different level of auction hall pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and we've also seen it in other games, like DDO actually had the same problem where people would post stuff at astronomical prices in order to just buy it back for themselves or use it as storage. So there's ways of discouraging that type of behavior and things of that nature. And if it's becoming too much of a problem, then obviously we can start to look at it. But the first thing that we always look at is performance, right? Is it putting a strain on the servers and putting a strain on the game and creating a bad technical experience, and then so on and so forth. So we'll take a look at it. That's what I can say.
And there you go. Let's see here. There was something else I was scrolling through here that I saw that I wanted to touch on, and oh, with the because you've done some PvP. Are you a PvP guy? I mean, or do you like the story more?
I've dabbled. I'm definitely I'm much more PVE. I follow the story very very closely.
Okay.
Or at least where I'm at. I've been bad. I am only up to update 17. So my main character has been neglected slightly. She's very sad about it. Anyway, but the PvP that I've done, the thing I love about the PvP is when I'm in a group with people. That completely changes my entire experience. If I go out there solo, it's for me not as fun, unless it's 1v1, right? But it never is 1v1. Don't kid yourself ever. There's something hiding somewhere, and it will get you because the chat is strong with them.
So the reason I even asked that is with PvP and the store.
Mm-hmm.
I get this question a lot, and this is kind of a multifaceted thing here.
Sure.
Is one, I would personally applaud the free to play model that you guys use, because I don't feel that it is like smashed in my face that I need to buy this and well, you got to unlock this and buy this and buy this. It's still there because it needs to be as part of the model,
Right.
but it's just not. I've played other games where it is just like the store is just crammed down your throat. And so I do appreciate that from this game a lot. Is I really don't even notice that it's there until I need to go grab something out of it. Part of that is that I'm VIP, so I most things are already unlocked and things like that. That's why I actually did a couple streams as a free to play account, because I wanted to see what that experience was like, so I could compare and give some insight on that. But for I think it's always been a challenge that I've seen is for the folks that specifically go creep side. They've got very, very low level freak characters because all they wanted to do is PvP and they wanted to go creep side. And, they obviously the PvP in this game has a unique challenge just because of the way it's structured anyway, with freeps having to level all the way up and work on their allies and work on their traits and work on, all the different aspects of their character, and then to hop over and get the Audacity gear too, and then as a creep, which I have very limited experience with because I feel wrong about doing that. It's just the store approach in that regard. It would seem like it would cost a lot less for a creep to really get up and rolling than all of the different things that have to be involved to get a freep up and rolling, obviously. But what do you guys look at when when you're doing stuff with the store and PvP and I'm going to use a very dangerous word here, so forgive me, balance. How do you guys look at what's available in the store and how it affects the balance of something like
Sure.
PvP?
Actually, so the store presents a unique solution to the B word um, that game code can sometimes lag behind it. Um, so one of the decisions that we made very early on with PvP in the store was that, you know, if the creeps are going to get something, then the creeps should get that equivalent,
Sure.
right? And that was easy to a point where, you know, you're talking about rejuvenation potions or forget the exact name of it. It's the battle restoration potion, I think is the name of it. Um, and so both sides have an equivalent, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, there's no edge really to those particular potions because the other side gets them. Um, but as far as the way that we put together packages and the way that we introduced things to the store for creep characters was um, essentially um, making up for the fact that the free-to-play user um, or a free character um, has the ability of walking through an entire story and gaining power and gaining prestige and gaining gear,
Mm-hmm.
and there is an entire avenue that is what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
A creep character doesn't necessarily have that same luxury,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Sure.
It has it to some respects, but very limited in scope and a much longer um, interaction time in order to get to an equivalent power level.
Right.
Um, and some players want that, right? Absolutely, they want that, and so they can have that. Um, and some of the packages that we got, like some of the reverse starter or some of the other starter packs that we have are just unlock the class and get some of the basic skills,
Right.
right? So that way you're not completely blind, right? You don't only have 2 or 3 options, you have 6 options,
Right.
you know?
Sure.
Something that I always do if I roll up a new warg is I make sure to get the stealth skill, get a couple other close combat melee abilities, and then I'm pretty much done, and I'll go out into the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me personally, I find wargs much more satisfying once they have stealth.
Sure.
Uh, I mean, that's half the fun. Um, and you don't necessarily get that kit right off the bat. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're someone who's coming to the game for the first time and you are savvy enough with the internet and you look up for, you know, warg builds or you use the wiki and you're just, you know, I want to build this thing out of the gate and like
Right.
not completely just get it handed to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the store allows you to customize, right? Um, and customize to a comfort zone, right? That I you could buy all the skills, but it doesn't necessarily teach you how to use them effectively,
Right.
or teach you um, in what combination to use them, or what triggers what. And so, in that respect, even if you purchase everything, and even if you read a guide on it, the experience of going in, you're still going in as rank 0,
Right.
right? Um, and so a level 105 warden against a level or a rank 0 warg, right? I mean, the warg probably is going to lose, which that might be a challenge. Feel free to challenge me on that and do it out. And
Right.
I'd love to see that as a video. Go for it. Um, but basically, what that sort of rule was as far as starter or integration packages, just kind of get started, uh, get your feelers out there, and sort of learn the system, and then figure out what you want to do. We wanted to bring that more into the Freep side too, where Gifted of Valar is kind of a good example, right?
Right.
That once you have it started off as 20%, and then we increased it to 100%. Then we had a 200%. But the idea of, okay, so you have people who've been playing this game for 10 years. And you have brand new people or they're friends of these people.
Yeah.
And they want to play with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The barrier to entry sometimes can be very high and very time consuming.
Sure.
And cost, right? And so the ability to just say, hey, I'll get the blessing and you can help me at 95.
Right.
And we're playing in the same area and it's not really putting you out of the way, and you're still getting some of the benefit by maybe going and doing quests that you skipped or whatnot. But you're able to play with your friend. I think it harkens back to community and choice and all that, and trying to centralize a lot of those feelings back. Somebody made a comment like a while ago about the XP disabler. That goes back into the player choice, right? The idea of we want to allow you to kind of play whichever way that you want to play. You either don't want to level, you want to level like normal, you want to level twice as fast, you want to level 3 times as fast, or you just want to skip this chunk because you've done it before and you can do it blindfolded and it's no longer fun for you or whatever. But by giving you options, it makes it a little bit easier to get back in.
Right.
So that's sort of what was begot by the conversation kind of started with the starter packs, just for PvP. So the store, in my personal opinion, it sort of takes a backseat to the balance concept, where the balance concept is much more of the there's a level bump and then you have to match it, and then there's a level bump and then you have to match it.
Sure.
So out of that sort of back and forth over time, there's sometimes a disparity that occurs just sort of naturally, and then you kind of got to figure it out and do one of these. And
to anybody that did not have audio on, that was just looking at chat, though, I'm sure that looked just great. It was your hand movements.
Yeah, you know, this means a lot to a whole bunch of different people.
Oh my goodness. All right.
I would. Yeah, this is not a good time to have me do a PowerPoint presentation.
Well, speaking of which, it is almost 1 o'clock at this point, so we'll actually let you go this time for realsies, so you can get some sleep. Again, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. Like I said, it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to these guys to see you guys on here and interacting with us. So, you know, if we can get more of them, and I guess I talked to Cordovan about it, but I know it's really tough for, you know, the other guys because of the work-life balance thing, and again, it's even tough for me, like, doing this late. This is my normal stream time, but you know, I like to go to bed too sometimes.
Yeah, sleep is important. Somebody was in the streamer chat apologizing for not being able to do their show because they were sick. And I said, what?
Yeah, no. I mean, the dedication is crazy, man. It's
like it real world comes first, right? So even out of inside in game balance jokes aside, you know, real life balance is super important, and making sure that you take breaks, stay hydrated, you know, wear a hat, call your mom, you know, do the normal things that you got to do, right? And then, you know, we of course want you in game. We want you to be playing. We want you to be in Middle Earth. We want you to be excited about Middle Earth and be in Middle Earth and love Middle Earth, right? But at the same time, if you're sick and you can't move, or if you're tired and you haven't slept in like 3 days, that's bad, man. That's health. Health is so important. So, yeah, stay balanced, take care of yourself, make good life choices.
Absolutely. Well, if you can, spread the word through your teammates. I want to see more of them on here on this show, because we've been doing some discussions on classes, on specific game mechanics, on things like that, and it would be even if they're just in the chat, they don't necessarily have to do camera and all that stuff. And but you know, people love that too. So, but
Sure.
you know, if we can, I've been trying to get Dr. Octothorpe for a while, but I know he's got a rather full plate. But
Yeah.
so
Scheduling is the biggest thing, but we can always, you know, throw something up on the board, see if it
sure.
sticks. And
Well, that's the good thing about this show is it's consistently every week at 10:30, unless my key doesn't work.
we'll get
So,
that sorted.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, it happens. It's live content. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
So, all right,
so
man.
Here's a plug. If you haven't followed Bloodborne, you should follow Bloodborne. If you haven't followed LOTRO Stream, you should follow LOTRO Stream, because guess what? He streams on LOTRO Stream for us.
Yay.
And he's awesome. I think I'm pointing in the right direction. The camera flip.
Yep, that way.
That way.
That way.
Him.
And you're over there. I got it right first try.
Clearly, I'm new at this. But yeah, we appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for the feedback. Thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for having allowing us to start this honest communication with you, and thanks for being patient, and thanks for loving the same things we love. So we'll see you in game.
Absolutely. All right, dude, I'll let you go, and then I'm gonna wrap up here. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time, sir.
All right, that's good.
All right, see you, buddy. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming in here and hanging out with us tonight. I had a great time talking with QuartermasterU and having you guys in here. So I am going to go to bed as well, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Well, actually, for most of you, it is tonight. I'll be back on my channel, twitch.tv/Bloodborne. And yeah, who knows what I'll be into. So you should be there to find out. On that note, I'm going to head out. Make sure you do like the shirt says, and ching ching. And I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a good night.